I am reading from Back for Good, Book 2 in the Coming Home trilogy. Joycelyn keyed the code in and pushed the door open. She climbed the 2 flights of stairs instead of taking the lift, pulling the small case after her, and shook the 5-hour drive from her legs. She entered the flat, which she still classed as her nan's. She stood on the threshold and breathed in deeply. The ambient quiet, peacefulness gently enveloped her in a cosy, warm embrace, as though a snuggle blanket had been carefully wrapped around, drawing her into a sense of undisturbed serenity. Walking into her bedroom, she dropped the case on the bed and proceeded to divide the items into piles of washing, ironing, or hanging. Her eyes rested on the photo frame on the bedside cabinet by the side of the bed, and a wave of emotion surfaced. Joycelyn shuddered with the sudden feelings of longing, loss, and emotion that appeared. Walking over, she sat on the bed near the cabinet and kissed her first 2 fingers and laid them lightly on the cheek of the woman whose face had produced this feeling of grief. The face that was now frozen in the annals of time. The face that had given her so much love and support. The face she missed with all her heart. Joycelyn opened the top drawer of the cabinet and gently took out a delicate piece of paper, whose creases from the 1,000 openings it had endured were threatening to tear. She lightly opened the letter and laid it on the cover of the paperback to stop it from receiving more damage. She held the letter up to her face. It still had the faint smell of lavender and something deeper, which Joycelyn couldn't place. The letter seemed to warm to her touch, and a feeling of love spread through her arms and curled its way through her core. She caught a glimpse of her nan's face in her mind and felt at peace. She picked up the frame and the book and reread the first paragraph again. My dearest Joy, you really are the joy of my life. I know you will be on the verge of crying, or you will be, by now, crying your heart out. Just remember how much I love you. A huge smile spread over her face, and, where there was once tears of grief, a steely resolve had taken their place. Joycelyn looked into the eyes of her nan and said aloud, I've sold my house, said my goodbyes, and everything I want to keep is now down here in storage. You always knew I would come home, and so I have. She smiled. We are almost ready to launch the new company. We have a few firms on board, and we are in the final stages of negotiations with others. My young assistant has been working hard getting everything ready. She even persuaded me to hire some more help, and I will be meeting them later on. I think you would be impressed by the speed we have got everything to this stage, so that is all going well. What is not going so well is family life. Yes, I know I still have some issues here. I don't mean Duncan, Sharon and the boys. They are all gorgeous. The twins are becoming quite grown up. They have developed your sense of humour and fun. I can't help but laugh at them and with them. Then there is a big elephant in the room. I mean Mum and Dad. And trying to make peace with them. But the ball on that is firmly in their court. I have accepted what happened. Dad was ill when he tried to rape me, especially since the diagnosis of his brain tumour and how bad he has become over the past couple of months. She paused for a second as if she was receiving some divine guidance and then continued. I feel as if I should try and find this Richard, my blood father. Was he a family friend or just some random bloke? I know I can't ask Mum whilst we are still estranged. Joycelyn placed the book back down on the cabinet and took the frame over to the window. She looked at the beautiful face in front of her. And then there is Sam. She was my first real love outside of the family. Our Duncan and Sharon and my lovely Trina want me to find her, to chat with her, to clear the air, and to listen to her side of the story. But I know what I saw. I can hear you chatting, and I know, as you kept on telling me, there are always two sides to every story. But... She left the end of the sentence hanging, shaking her head. She looked at the photo again and said, I am deeply in love with Trina, and the more we've been apart these 6 months, the more I've realised the times we've had together. Her 2 kids are gorgeous. Peter is always looking for approval, and you can see he wants someone to play football with or go fishing. Kathy is sometimes a little too clingy, and I can understand the reasons why. Their father is forever letting him down, but I cannot say anything against him, even though I think he's a useless waste of space. Jocelyn took some time staring out of the window at nothing and no one, and after a while she turned back to the photo and said, I'm glad to be home, and I really truly feel settled now. I feel as though I'm back for good, back where I belong. Smiling, she breathed deeply. I love our little chats, Nan. I love you with all my heart. Jocelyn again kissed her fingers, touched them to the photo, and placed it back in its rightful place. She carefully refolded the piece of paper and returned it to the drawer. Jocelyn moved to the kitchen, made herself a cup of coffee, and sat in her favourite chair by the window and daydreamed while she watched the world go by. She must have dozed off because she awoke with the key being turned in the door and raucous laughter that accompanied Lucy and her 2 companions. Lucy saw Jocelyn sitting in the chair and greeted her enthusiastically. Hi, Joy. She gave her a big hug. You're home early. I take it there wasn't much traffic on the roads today. Yeah, for once there was no hold-ups and the traffic moved smoothly and steadily all the way down. She looked across to the 2 young men who had entered with Lucy. Are you going to introduce me to your friends?